All right, let's dive into a motorsport that is going to completely flip your idea of what it means to be fast. I mean, forget about the roaring engines of F1 or the high banks of NASCAR. We're looking at something that values a surgeon's steady hand over a sprinter's pure speed. And to even begin to understand it, you first have to make sense of a course that looks, well, like this.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. At first glance, this looks less like a racetrack and more like some kind of secret code or a bizarre maze. So what in the world is going on here? This isn't about finding the fastest line through a corner, it's about navigating an automotive puzzle.
And that puzzle gets us right to the single most important rule of this sport. So I need you to forget everything you think you know about racing. Because here, the winner isn't always the one who crosses the finish line first. Nope. The winner is the one who makes the fewest mistakes.
This is FIGURE. Its official name, a bit of a mouthful, is the Student Automobile Driving Competition. And as you can probably guess from the name, it was born out of Japanese university auto clubs. It's actually one of the oldest forms of Japanese motorsport, and its entire goal is to find that perfect, razor-thin balance between raw speed and just flawless accuracy.
To really get a feel for it, just picture an automotive Sasuke. You know, like the show Ninja Warrior, but with cars instead of people. Or you could call it an extreme parking championship on steroids, where every single little maneuver is being judged. And get this, it's not just for small, nimble cars. Some events even use massive cargo trucks, which is just an unbelievable test of vehicle control.
Okay, so if it's all about precision, how are the rules actually set up to reward that? Let's break down what a driver has to do just to complete a run, never mind actually have a shot at winning.
On the surface, the basics are pretty straightforward. You start the course, you navigate a bunch of slaloms in these super tight boxes, but there are two rules that are absolutely critical. You have to pass through every single checkpoint, and you have to finish within the time limit. If you miss either one of those, you're immediately disqualified. Game over.
But, just finishing the course, that's just your ticket to entry. This quote gets to the absolute heart of what FIGURE is all about, the race against the clock. Well, that only really starts after you've proven you can complete the course perfectly.
And that's because of the one single thing that defines this entire sport and makes it so uniquely challenging: the penalty system. In this sport, every tiny error, a wheel just touching a line, bumping a cone, it's not just a minor deduction. No, each mistake is converted directly into time that gets added right onto your final score. A small slip of the wheel can be way more devastating than being seconds slower than your rival.
You've basically got three cardinal sins a driver has to avoid. First is a sitzerin. That's just barely touching a boundary line with a tire. A more serious mistake is a dotzerin, where a tire goes completely outside the lines. But the biggest mistake of all, the most severe error, is hitting one of the small cones, or cans as they're called.
Okay, so here's how the math works, and it's brutally simple. Every single penalty point adds 2 seconds to your final time. So a 10-point penalty is a 20-second handicap. 20 points is 40 seconds. It adds up terrifyingly fast.
Now remember that most severe mistake we talked about, hitting a cone? Well, that single error carries a penalty of 30 points.
So let's do the math real quick. If every point is 2 seconds, what does that 30-point penalty for just tapping one plastic cone actually translate to?
60 seconds. A full minute. A full minute is added to your time for one momentary lapse in concentration. One touch, one little nudge of a cone, and you've just given yourself a 1-minute penalty. It is absolutely brutal.
This quote just perfectly captures the terror and the tension of competing in FIGURE. I mean, you could be driving the run of your life almost a minute faster than everyone else, but if you just graze one of those cans on the way to the finish line, all of that brilliant driving is completely wiped out. Let's look at how this plays out in a real scenario. Say you have a driver A, a total speed demon. They finish the course in a blistering 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but they clip one cone along the way. That adds 60 seconds for a final score of 3:30. Then you have driver B, who's much more cautious, finishing in 3 minutes flat, a full 30 seconds slower, but they had a clean run, 0 penalties. Driver B wins. The slower driver takes the victory. That's FIGURE in a nutshell.
So what does it actually take to be good at this? It's pretty clear it's about more than just having a heavy right foot.
A champion driver needs this crazy combination of 3 things. First, the obvious: incredible pinpoint control over their vehicle. Second, a sharp, strategic brain to analyze the course and plan the absolute perfect penalty-free path. And third, and this one might surprise you, immense physical stamina to wrestle the car through those tight maneuvers at speed for up to 3 minutes straight.
But there's a final fascinating twist. While it looks like a purely individual sport, one driver, one car, one course, victory is completely impossible without total team cooperation. From all the strategy sessions to car setup and support on the day, it really embodies that spirit of one for all and all for one.
So after seeing how precision just crushes pure speed, and how a single touch can undo minutes of perfect driving, it really forces you to look at motorsports in a whole new way.
Which brings us to our final question. When a sport demands absolute mastery of car control, strategic genius, physical endurance, and seamless teamwork, could Pi Figure, in its own quiet, precise way, actually be the ultimate test of a driver? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us.